Guys, it's Sarah and today is Booklist Thursday. This is a video series that I do with my friend Lindsay over at Lindsay's Little Library. And this week we are going to do our 5-star prediction follow-ups. So Lindsay and I picked 6 books actually. The last time we did this, we picked 6 books that were part of the Advent Book Exchange that we did last year with Lisa from Books and Smiles, who unfortunately is not making videos as of today still. But we did a big, huge book exchange, same as what we're doing this year with Krista. However, last year we did 25 books. So we decided to take a look at those books that we got last year, pick 6 of them, 3 from each person, and put those on our 5-star predictions list. Now, Krista is joining us this year in our Booklist Thursdays for the first 3 weeks of December. So she is going to be doing a video today, but hers is going to be a little bit different because she obviously did not pick the same type of books that we did for her last 5-star predictions, but she did make a video where she predicted some books that she would give 5 stars. So she's going to do a follow-up to that one and post that today as well. So make sure you go and check her out. All right, so we are just going to go in the order that I read these books. So the first one that I picked up was a book I got from Lisa, and that is Cross Her Heart by Sarah Pinborough. Now, Sarah Pinborough is an author that I have loved in the past. I absolutely loved Behind Our Eyes. That's one of my favorite thriller books. I thought it was brilliant. I read another short story by her that I really loved, and there's a series of books that I would like to read from her as well. And so when Lisa sent me this one, I was really excited. Now, this one is has not gotten good reviews by a lot of people, and it did not get a good review from me either. I actually ended up giving this book 2 stars. It was very disappointing. It follows a woman and her daughter, and you can tell that they are on the run and, trying to keep hidden from the father in the family who was abusive. And you follow along, them almost being discovered and things are happening, and she's getting, creepy things that are happening around her, and she thinks it's him. And there was a twist, but I wasn't blown away by it. I kind of was like, what? Why? So yeah, I didn't enjoy this one. This one did not work for me. So this is a book I'm not going to hang on to. Even though it is an author that I've loved in the past, this just wasn't one that I enjoyed. It just unfortunately didn't work for me. The next one I picked up was a book from Lindsay, and that is The Broken Girls by Simone St. James. And this is one I actually ended up listening to on audiobook as well because it is narrated by a really good narrator. So I thought I would listen to it. And I really enjoyed this book. I ended up giving this one 4 stars, only because it wasn't something that completely blew me away, but it was very interesting, and I liked the way that it was written, and it did keep me interested the entire time. It just wasn't, one of the best books I've read this year, if that makes any sense. So this one follows a dual timeline, and it follows a woman who has lost her sister in the past. She was murdered, and her body was dumped at an abandoned kind of reform school, I guess you could call it, or an academy for girls. And this academy was open in the 1950s, which is our other timeline, and you follow some girls that are a part of that academy and see what happened to them there, because one of them is rumored to be haunting the school. And then you see our present day timeline, they intersect. So it was good. It was really interesting. I really liked the characters a lot. And again, I gave it 4 stars. Then I read Beartown by Frederick Bachman, which was sent to me by Lindsay. And this is one of my favorite books of the year. Maybe my favorite. We'll see how December wraps up. But oh my gosh, this book hit me in every different directions I wasn't expecting. I put it on my predictions list because I've heard just completely amazing things about it, and all of those things were correct. It really was. This is a book that's really hyped, and this is 1000% worth the hype. So this follows a town in Sweden that is very centered around a local hockey team. They are kind of world famous-ish, and they have a lot of things around this town surround the hockey team. The hockey team brings people to this town and kind of keeps the economy going because it's kind of in the middle of nowhere. And one day, the captain of this hockey team sexually assaults the daughter of the team manager. that they are both teenagers. And you see this happen. You see both of these teenagers deal with the consequences of that. You see how the town reacts to both of the teenagers. You see excuses being made for the boy. You see outrage towards the boy. You see outrage towards the victim. And there are just so many quotable things in here. And one day I would like to go back through this and probably annotate it or highlight some of my favorite quotes and lines, because he gets so much of this right, and just things that really make a big, powerful impact, and things that I will never forget. And I absolutely loved it. This is probably my favorite book of the year. One of the best books I've ever read. It's probably in my top 10 now. So obviously it's a 5-star. And then I picked up a book that was sent to me by Lisa, and that's It's Always the Husband by Michelle Campbell. And this one I also listened to on audiobook because it was narrated by January Lavoie, who is one of my favorite audiobook narrators. She does a great job. So I wanted to listen to it, and I did, and I thought it was fantastic. This is another dual timeline thing, but it's not quite as far apart in the timeline. So we follow a trio of girls who go to college together, and they are roommates. And you see them navigating their freshman year of college. They come from different backgrounds, different things. They have very, very different personalities. You see them clash. You also see them bond. Something pretty bad happens during one of their years in college, and there is some consequences for that. And then you also follow them as adults. They're married, living their own lives, not quite as close as they were before. You kind of see what direction their lives end up taking. And someone ends up dead, and then you're trying to figure out why and what happened, and is it a direct consequence of what happened in college. So I really enjoyed it. I really did. Lindsey read this book recently as well, and she made a comment to me while she was reading it. She said, "I'm halfway through the book. The book is called It's Always the Husband, but we're halfway through the book and there's no husband yet." And that was very true. I kept going, okay, but what husband, and where, and where's the husband? And then you find out who the husband is. So that was pretty interesting. But I kept because she said that, I kept looking for well, who's the husband? She's absolutely right. There's no husband yet. But it all ends up, when it's all wrapped up and everything, it makes sense. So, yeah, I really, really enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars. It wasn't blow me away good, but it was really good. And I do want to read more from this author for sure. Then I picked up another one from Lisa, and that is Next Year in Havana by Chanel Clinton. This is another one I listened to on audiobook, and the audiobook was fine. The narrator wasn't fantastic, I don't think. But it was fine. I had no problem listening to it. It did take me a little bit longer to get through this one than I would have liked. But this is a historical fiction, and this one follows a woman who's living in Miami, and her grandmother passes away. Her grandmother is originally from Cuba, and you follow her. She's a reporter, and she is taking her grandmother's ashes back to Cuba because that's where she wanted her ashes spread when she passed away. And she's on a mission to get that done. While she's there, she meets a man who is close to her family. She has some extended family there as well. And so she's kind of seeing things that are happening in Cuba and things that have happened in the past, and Fidel and Castro and all that kind of stuff, and what was happening to the citizens of Cuba. She's experiencing that firsthand, and it gets pretty dangerous. So this one I really did like. It wasn't a 5-star for me, though. It was a 4-star, only because I don't know what it was about it. It wasn't, I couldn't put it down. It was so good. It hit me in all the feels. It did hit me in some, I definitely cared about the characters, and it was, when there were some pretty scary scenes, I really felt for them and, feared for their safety and stuff. I thought it was a good depiction of what actually has happened to citizens in Cuba because of the dictatorship and leadership there. And that was pretty heartbreaking. But other than that, I don't know. It was just kind of fine. It wasn't as good as I was expecting it to be, I guess. I think this one is definitely another one that's hyped up because it was made into Reese's Book Club, Reese Witherspoon. This was one of her book club picks, so it was very popular. And I did like it. I did. It just wasn't a 5-star for me. Do I want to read more from this author? Absolutely. She has 2 other books. Well, she has one other book out for sure, and then another one coming out in 2020, I believe. So I will definitely read more from her. I don't know that I'll buy them. They may be audiobooks or library books for me. So I don't know if I'll like buy them and keep them on my shelves or not, but I did enjoy it and I gave it 4 stars. And the last book that I had on that list was Tower of Dawn by Sarah J. Maas. This was sent to me by Lindsey, and I did not end up getting to this one. So I don't have a prediction for you yet. Well, it's still a 5-star prediction when I do pick it up, but I do need to read one more book in this series before I can get to this one. So I need to read Empire Storms first, and I just haven't been able to do that yet. So this will be happening hopefully sometime in the next couple of months. I just got to read Empire Storms first, and then I can read this one, and then I can finish the series with Kingdom of Ash, which I just picked up. So yeah, everything got away from me and I didn't have time to get to this one, unfortunately. So whoopsies. Of the 5 books that I ended up reading, I had 1 2-star, I had 3 4-star, and I had 1 5-star. So was that successful? Not really. There were, 3 of those books that I really thought were going to be 5 stars, and they were just a 4. They didn't completely blow me away to the point where I wanted to give it, all of the stars. There was only 1 on that list that did that for me. I still think Tower of Dawn can be that as well once I get there. But yeah, so this one wasn't quite as successful as some in the past have been, but that's okay. They're not all going to be that. That's why it's a prediction, and you have to take a guess, and then you have to take a gamble on that and read that and see what you think. All right, so make sure you go and check out Lindsey and see which Advent books she picked and what she gave those books. I'm really excited to see that too, because again, we haven't really talked about it throughout the months of reading. And then make sure you go check out Krista, because I'm really excited to see her follow up, because I don't remember what she had put on her 5-star predictions in the past. And I don't know how old her video is that she's going to be revisiting. So I'm really excited to see that today. So make sure you go check them out. They're both linked down below. And let me know down below if you guys have read any of these books, what your thoughts on them were and all that stuff. And I will talk to you later. Hope you guys have a great day. Bye.